So
is that our tent?
Yeah, hey, why don't you go inside? Let's look at the inside. There's the net tent.
Can I sleep in there?
It's I don't know if you can see, or maybe that side will be better light. It's hard to see with the white light, but I just wrapped it around the corner and then came out to here where I looped it. That's where I looped them. Looped it there, looped it at the top. Just the four corners, and then the top two corners, the top two ridgeline corners. I didn't do anything on the bottom. I don't plan on doing anything unless I really feel a need. I guess I can do it later. But hopefully there's a full ridge rest, full length. I can squeeze it over a little bit more, and then it should fit two people tight. But as you can see, there's lots of room out here. Right here is under the tarp. And if I have to, I can bring the tarp down close to the ground if it's real rainy. Of course, if it's real rainy, you don't need this net tent because there's no bugs when it's raining. Anyways, that should it's all my sewing. So the first step is to cut your fabric, of course. And so here you see I just lay it out on my living room table because it's so long, and I'm cutting it at 7 feet. You can obviously set whatever length you want. I set 7 feet mostly because that's how much fabric I had left over from my tarp, and the bottom is going to be the same fabric that my tarp uses, and so so it's going to be 7 feet long. That's what I'm doing right here. Now here's a quick drawing showing there's one piece that I cut. Here's the second piece, 7 feet long. And then on the third piece I used the fabric from my tarp. So the next is to sew all those together. And here's where the seams are located. And basically what you do is you put the two halves together for each seam. This is the basic way how to do a flat felled seam. And then I sew 1 inch from the edge. So I'd sew them together right on top of each other, 1 inch from the edge. And just go on to do a straight stitch all the way down 1 inch from the edge. And so this is the middle seam, of course, the top ridge line. And then when I'm done with this part, what I do is I cut one of those tails that in half. So one's going to be a 1/2 inch, the other one's going to be 1 inch. So just cut it down in half all the way down across. See? And then after you're done with that, you're going to fold it. So I fold one side over and then I fold it over again. So then I'm basically burying the exposed edges into each other so that they won't fray out once you're done. So I'm pinning it down, and then I'm going to sew a straight seam, a straight stitch right down the edge that I just folded over, and I'm pulling it apart. Now I start with pins. It's a lot easier if you start with pins, but I only put a couple pins in, and then here you see I'm just rolling it. I'm farther down, almost done. And there I'm done. So now I'm going to do the next seam, which is the one with the silk nylon. And so I'm going to do it again. So you put them right on top of each other, and then you sew 1 inch from the edge. And it's a lot more difficult when they're two different fabrics, which I realized when I was doing this part. So sew 1 inch from the edge. And then cut it in half, one of them in half, and then I rolled it over just like I did with the top. Do the same thing. Now rolling this part over,
hemming this part or doing the flat felled seam on this part was really hard, just because it's still nylon and was a lot. I don't know, they stretched or did something differently, so this was a little bit difficult. But I just forced it through, and it didn't look pretty, but it works. So after that, after you do 3 panels, you'll do your 2 end pieces, and obviously they're cut out a little differently. So here I am cutting it out, cutting out the triangles first, the top edges. And you'll have to determine what exactly the measurements you need. I did kind of a 32 inches tall from the middle, and then kind of guessed on what my pentagon is going to look like. And here's the other side. Now after I did this one, see how I did, one side each. My second one, I folded the fabric in half and made a 1 cut. So that's faster. This one I did 1 each, or each side separately. And then cut the bottom by folding it in half so that it's not quite as long of a cut. This is where I got the idea that I could cut the top together as well. And then the next, you're going to do more flat felled seams by sewing each panel onto each other. You want to do the back panel first. Again, here I am doing flat felled seam. I start from the top ridge line, and then I work my way around. So hopefully that keeps it straight. So basically every stitch is a flat felled seam. And like I said, you want to do the back one first, and then the second one you want to do is the zipper. So here I am doing the back one, and I'm turning the corner here, but just keep rolling and sewing, rolling and sewing all the way around. After you do this, you'll be tired of doing flat felled seams, because that's the only seam I did. I don't know, maybe there's a better one, but that's the one I did. It works. Okay, now the front panel, you want to do the zipper, and the way that I did that was, so first I bought the zipper, and then I put the 2 zipper pulls in it, and then you want to sew the ends closed so they can't open up again. So that's what I'm doing here, sewing the ends closed. You do that on both sides of the zipper with the 2 zippers embedded. And then what I did was I just laid it flat. I laid it flat onto my door end the way that I wanted it, and then I pinned it on just like that. And then I sewed, after I pinned it, I just sewed it straight on. And I haven't cut that front panel. I just sew the zipper on straight like this. And then after you're done sewing it on the first time, then I turn it around. Then I decided to put a backing. So you'll see I put a backing of ribbon or of my grosgrain, just to kind of give it more strength. So you still have to sew it from the top, but the grosgrain is underneath there. That's what you don't see. So on both sides, again, of the zipper, I sew a piece of grosgrain to kind of hold the thread, so it's not just catching. You're not sewing it just directly onto the netting. You're sandwiching it in between the netting and the zipper, or the netting is being sandwiched between the zipper and the grosgrain. And then I did a kind of a grow grain and cap. I don't know. And then I cut in between. Now I'm cutting just the netting, not the grow grain. But it's on the side that the grow grain's on, obviously. And that's how I cut my zipper hole. So I didn't cut it until after the zipper was already sewn on. And I guess we'll see if this works. It works so far. We'll see what the long term is. There's probably better ways to do the zipper, but this is the first zipper I ever did. So hopefully it works. So here I'm just taking my time and cutting through cutting the netting right in the middle. Just cutting it all the way through. Cut. I guess I could have edited some of this out. And now you can see that I can split it after I get done. I can unzip it. There you go. Unzipped. So after this step, zip it back up, and then you sew this on with a flat felled seam, just like the other end panel. So after you're done with that, then you want to sew the little loops onto the corners. And here they are sewn on the corners. I just folded them over and sewed them on direct. I kind of pinched it. And then I decided to make some hooks. I modeled them in CAD and then laser cut them out of Acetal. There they are. I made 6 of them. And then I connected them to the tarp that's how I connect them to the tarp. So I can just take it down real fast.
All right, well, I'm underneath it's raining, so I'm sitting underneath the tarp. So far, it's not leaking. You kind of see how this is set up. Let's see over here, a little darker. There's a hook and a little string. And they're tied off in the corners. And up here, and then over there, and over that side. So, it's a rainy night. We're going to test how this tarp is doing in the rain. So far, no leaks. Hopefully it rains all night and then I'll get a good test.
Thanks for watching my video.